You're listening to Suburban Happy Hour with Anne-Marie
and Julia
and Emma,
the podcast where we make delicious cocktails
or mocktails
and talk about everything under the sun.
Because the best conversations happen at happy hour. Welcome back to another episode of Suburban Happy Hour. We are joined by yet another very special guest, Miss Emma. Whoop, whoop. Thanks for being here, Emma.
You're welcome.
And Emma is a wine connoisseur of sorts, so a red wine for her. Slightly. But I am doing non-alcoholic, and what kind did you what
a
do you
red
have?
blend from Cooper's Hawk.
Fully alcoholic.
Yes, 100% alcohol.
100%.
Yes.
So I wish I was a red wine girly, but we're working our way up there. So
We'll
I'll
get
get
you on the
to get
bandwagon
there.
here soon.
I'm sorry?
We'll get you on the bandwagon soon.
Yes, very soon. And then
Take it away, Julia.
my brain, literally, this is how my brain works. Am I just introducing, I don't know how to, did you want me to introduce this as from like just military family or like spouse of military person? How do you want me to introduce this fucking, what am I doing? Guys, this is the first
She's
question.
a spouse of military person.
Military person. I am
No,
military
I'm not-
spouse person.
No. I'm way ahead of myself here. I was trying to figure out how to introduce. Bitch, I'm supposed to ask you how your 20s are treating you. Okay. Backtrack.
Keep
All
that
right.
in. Like, do not delete that.
That was good. That was content
I'm
right there.
not here, but I am here. Like, my body's here, my mind's somewhere else. Emma, I'm so sorry. We're going to get into all of that we just talked about. Like, it's kind of a mystery. Military, that's the main word here. But
That's the key word.
That's the key word. But no, Emma, how have your 20s been treating you so far?
Honestly, really great. Like, really great. I actually turn 29 next Friday.
Woo! Birthday.
I know, birthday girl. Woo-hoo. So they're almost over. But so far, my 20s have been really great. A lot of learning, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of things that I did not think would happen in my 20s that did happen, like getting married very young. I never saw that. Like, when 16 me never would have been like, oh yeah, I would have already been married for 3.5 years by the time I was 26. So 10 years. So yeah, like literally crazy. So my 20s have been great, but also very crazy at the same time. So yeah.
Nice. Oh my gosh. And that's so funny because we all say like at 16, we would think that we would be married. It's funny that you were the opposite.
Yeah. I was like at 16, I was like, no, I definitely probably will not be married. Like, you know, like I'm just going to be like live, laugh, loving, like living my life, like, you know, whatever. But it's kind of crazy now.
It's
to look
really
back
like
on
the
that.
complete opposite for everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
just how it works
Whatever you
out.
want is kind of like the opposite, kind of.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wish I would have known that when I was
I don't fucking want a husband.
been nice now.
But no, so going into that a little bit more with all the changes and things you didn't expect happening, is there anything specific that you really had to overcome during your 20s?
I think the most like specific thing would definitely be just like getting married so young. I definitely think that was something that was very like pivotal in my life. I moved away from like all my friends and family, and I really had to figure out not only with my husband, but like how to be an adult, you know, like we were living in Oklahoma in the middle of
I heard about that.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
One time I was there, my life flashed before my
Yeah.
Was it like a tornado
Multiple
or some shit?
Oh
Yes.
yes.
Oh, gosh.
Like literally middle of nowhere. Like so we were just like looking back at it. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm still like mature. Like,
Yeah.
you know, no. Like girl, you were like 23 years old. Like looking back at it, like really did me and Ricky have any business like being married at 23? Probably not. Probably not. But I really am so grateful that like he is the guy that he is. So like I said, that's definitely been my biggest challenge is just really navigating that and just having the right partner through all that. So
Yes.
yeah.
And then is there anything that you are really leaning into or found comfort in already? Or is there something that you want to try towards, I mean, your last year of 20s?
I know. It's like honestly crazy to think about. I think my biggest thing is just continuing on with like my own like mental health journey and just like really excuse me, taking care of my own like self-worth, because I think that's definitely something that we can all relate to that just really goes to the wayside. So yeah, just that, and continuing that also into my 30.
Hey.
Yes.
What is it? 30, flirty, and thriving.
Yes, exactly. And that's going to be my motto
As it
until
should.
the day
As
I go
it
into
should
the
be,
ground.
right. Literally, I am
40,
always
30, fly, whatever. 50,
70s,
60.
80s, 90s, 110. No, I'm just kidding. But,
No.
But really, though.
No,
I think
that's-
that's something that people forget about is that
Yes.
if in order to take care of other people, and I can talk about it more when we get into it, but you have to be able to take care of yourself. And that's
Right.
something that I really neglected when me and Ricky first got married, you know, so.
Yeah, mental health until like you're like, wow, I should probably take some time to be with myself and kind of figure myself out and take care of myself first.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's like that wake up call is kind of brutal when it happens, but once
Yeah.
you start it, you know, it's a journey for life.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Definitely.
All right, well, now moving into the reason why you're here. I'm going to take this. I'm going to take it this
Y'all,
time.
if you guys didn't know, this is what we're talking about.
So, Emma, your husband is actually in the military,
Yes.
and he has gone through deployment. You have moved to multiple different places, moved away from your family, friends.
Yep.
So, we're here today just to like dig deep into that, because even if people can't relate to the military part of this podcast, I feel like they can definitely relate to the moving away from family and friends and things like that. So we're just going to kind of dive right into that.
Yeah.
So can you briefly just discuss what branch of the military is Ricky in and kind of how that all got started? What age were you when this happened? And
Yeah. Yeah. So Ricky is in the United States Army. He is a captain. He went to he went to college. So he's what they call a commissioned officer. So he has his 4-year degree, and he went through like basic and everything like everybody has to. And then he went through what they call their OCS commissioned officer program. So that's kind of been like his path through the military thus far. He's currently going to be in September of this year in the military for 6 years.
wow.
So,
Long time.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And where I don't know, how many times has he like gone away for a long period of time?
So he's been deployed, what they would call like a combat deployment once. And then
Okay.
he's done like multiple, like what they would call like extended, like long-term, like trainings or like stuff like that.
Okay.
Like a lot. I can't even really remember.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, so he's been on a combat deployment once, and yeah.
Okay. All right. So then kind of going into that with like just being a military spouse in general and being a part of that lifestyle, what have you kind of learned about sacrifice and stability?
Yeah, I think that's like a big one. I think sacrifice is definitely something that I look at a lot different now. I think sacrifice is something that, especially in like today's world, unfortunately, that a lot of people look at as like, you know, it means a lot of things to a lot of different people. I mean, for me personally, I'm obviously very biased. Like I see like what my husband gives up every day and like what I've also too personally given up. And I used to be kind of like, I don't want to say like bashful about it, but like when people would be like, oh, like, thank you for your service. I'm like, girl, I don't do anything. Like, I'm just like here, like living my life, you know, but like at the end of the day, like I don't want to say have to, but I do choose to follow my husband, you know, like when we PCS, and I am, for lack of a better word, and also too, I am the rock of our family. So, you know, like I also help with keeping our family afloat, like while he was gone, and, you know, just all the other little things, you know, that come with being a military spouse. So I definitely think there's a lot of sacrifice with all of the men and women who serve our country. So I definitely think sacrifice is a really big word. And I also too think like down to his family, like they've sacrificed a lot, you know, like his parents, my parents, like they've sacrificed Christmases, Thanksgivings, birthdays, holidays, you know, so there's a lot that comes with it. And I think both of us now too just really take into consideration, like when we do get that family time, whether that's just me and him or with our extended family, like we just take it for granted more, you know, like it's just something that we value more, I think, now.
So how has your relationship, like, and the commitment you guys made to each other, how do you keep that strong through the times where you're not with each other for a long period of time, and sometimes during that time you can't keep in touch as often as you would like?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like a hard one, because like he definitely, like, especially when he was deployed, it was very like he was on like the opposite side of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right,
it wasn't like, you know, like when I was awake, he was sleeping, and like, you know, whatever. So I think it was just more so important to me to know that he felt that like I was there to support him in whatever way he needed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we would like FaceTime and stuff like that. But it is really hard, you know. I mean, like there's no way to like really like have like I mean, I guess there is, you know, whatever, but like you can't, it's just not the same, you know, it's not the same. And I think the biggest thing about that is like staying connected and just making sure that your spouse knows that you're there to like support them in whatever they need in that moment, you know? So I think that's like the biggest thing.
That makes so much sense.
And then for you, while Ricky is away, when you're, you know, staying at home doing your thing, what does your routine kind of look like while he's away?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You can be honest.
Yeah,
honestly, like when he like first got deployed, because it was like our first like ever deployment that we went through, I was like not well, like hashtag not well, bitch. I like my mom came and stayed out with me for like 2 months. Like I just like, I don't know, like it just felt, it also too like the timeline of everything, like that was right when we like fully like pulled out of Afghanistan. So Ricky got deployed to Iraq, and so it was just like very like uncertain with like what was going to go on then like there, as like I don't want to say repercussion, but just like, you know, it's like it still was at the time, I don't know if it still is, but considered like an active like combat war zone. And so it was just with how that happened with Afghanistan, it was just very like rattling, you know. And the way that they basically like prepare you like as a military spouse and like with what they call like FRG is just like, hey, like you should know like your spouse's wishes, and you should also like have everything like, oh my God, like you should have things in line essentially. And they give you, they basically just like they give you like a packet, and they're, I don't want to say kind of like good luck, but like it's kind of like, hey, like this is like what you should know, and like here's who you should reach out to, and like also like have what they call like a family readiness plan.
Okay.
So like that kind of stuff is like very hard to hear as like a first, and just I think for anybody. And I think also too just like the reality of knowing that like even though he's not at the time, like he wasn't like, he was a FA officer at the time, so that's like field artillery, so he wasn't like an infantry guy. And like it's also not like back in like, you know, the early 2000s where they're like kicking down doors and stuff. There still is the risk of
course,
you know,
of course, always,
you know, exactly. So it just was like one of those things that was just like very rattling. And for me, it was just like creating that like sense of like, okay, I'm either gonna like get through this, and I'm either gonna like not be well this entire time, or I'm gonna let myself like feel sad and like feel my emotions, and then I'm gonna get through it, you know. And I think that was like the biggest like kind of like aha moment for me. I was like, okay, like I'm gonna allow myself to like feel sad, because like I deserve that, like, you know, like I'm a human, and then like I'm gonna like be better and do better, because like not only do I deserve that, but like my husband deserves that, you know what I mean? Because like I don't want him to come home and I'm just like this like mess, you know what I mean? So long-winded answer to your question. I tried to stay busy, but I think it's also like really hard, because the most of the time he was deployed, I was out here for like 4 months and like over the holidays, but I went back to Colorado, so I spent a lot of time with my dog Daisy. You know, so but yeah, you know, I just like, and I was working too at the time, so I had like a routine in my job, but so just staying busy was the biggest thing for me.
Okay. And then this is another question. So when Ricky first got deployed, because you were saying how that was his longest term away. Was there any period of time before that where he was away for a couple months or something like that? Or was that like your first experience, was him going straight to Iraq?
Yeah. So, I mean, like when he went through basic and like OCS, like, so he basic is like 3 months. That's like no contact, but that's just kind of like, you know, like they're just, he was in Georgia, and then OCS, that was like same thing. He was in Georgia. And then during COVID, like the pandemic, he did some like pre-deployment training out in, I believe, like California.
Oh,
and
okay,
that
so it was all within the country.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so that was a totally different
and like
thing
most,
for you.
Yeah, like most of that training is just like sucks for them type of stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
I
it's like
see.
it's like
Okay.
nothing like overseas type of training. It's just like sucks for them, and he comes home smelling like a litter box, like a cat box, like really disgusting. So I'm just kind of like, should we hose you off outside? Like, you know. So yeah, it was like our first like real experience of like, you know, like that kind of like scariness, I guess, you know, like real life army stuff.
So
for lack of a
during
better
those
word.
times of you staying busy, did you have any other strategies to like cope with it? Were there support groups? Were there people that you reached out to, or did you just kind of try and do it all on your own?
Well, I started seeing a therapist because therapy, love therapy,
Yeah.
huge believer in therapy. And yeah, I mean, I wish I could say like I leaned more into like military spouse life, but no.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, no. So I really started seeing a therapist, and that was like it. And I feel like too, like with the whole like therapy thing, like I needed that like third party to tell me like,
Yeah.
like you're being either kind of like cuckoo cuckoo, like, or like, no, that's like a valid thought, or
Yeah.
like, no, you know, whatever. Cause I was like having just like these like, you know, kind of like cuckoo cuckoo things, like,
Yeah.
what's going
Like
on up there, Emma, you know? So I really needed that in order to just like be able to sleep and to
Yeah.
calm myself down. So
And especially because, again, this is all happening. Your husband is away for the first time overseas, and you really weren't around any of your friends that are your support system and your family. Like, yes, they were always still there for you, and you
of
came to
course.
visit and whatnot, but it was like you had to kind of do all of this on your own.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that I can't imagine how
Yeah,
that
it
had
takes
to
a lot.
feel.
It's very brave.
yeah.
Like on both how you said, it's a whole community that is, you know, to be thanked, really.
Yeah,
You
I know. And that's so bad. Like, honestly, I never, like, even thought to thank, like, the military spouses and
Right.
stuff. And it's like, that is so true, though, because, yes, you're not on the front lines or whatnot, but what you do behind
God.
the scenes. Yeah.
But like seriously though. Could you imagine? You're like, when is the skincare time?
Yeah, literally the TikToks where it's like all the women are getting, it's, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about.
so funny. I love
But
that,
no.
though.
But no, thank you, Emma. Because I mean, without like that's so hard. I could never imagine myself in your shoes, and it takes a lot of bravery. I know you were saying you were kind of like very like shy about it at first, but now I'm glad that your mindset has changed. And like, yeah, I am doing you a service. You know, like I like being a wife of or a husband, whatever. You know, it takes a lot of bravery too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot on a person. And like you said, like the thoughts going through your head when your person is away, it's like, and you still have to like go through life,
Like,
and
go to
do
work,
your own
like a
normal
job.
things.
Get
Like,
dressed,
Yeah.
talk to people.
I feel like
Yep.
if I was in that position, I just have like crippling anxiety,
right?
like
Yeah.
nonstop.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like your life still has to go on as like
Yeah.
it's not like this huge like major change,
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's like
People aren't aware of it. It's like they go on
Correct.
there, like, you know.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Is there any like common misconceptions about the military lifestyle that you know that you weren't aware of going into it, but now you're like you wish more people knew about?
I think like a really big misconception is that like the military is this like I think one of the biggest things that especially like Ricky runs into, since like he kind of like I don't want to say overseas, but sees a lot of like people who are young who go into the military like right out of college. Let's say that it's this like I don't want to put this in a bad way, but this like ticket of like this is like going to be like your like
security blanket in a
yeah
sense.
yeah like you're shiny, like you're gonna be able to take care of like your 5 kids and your wife and da da da.
Yes.
And I think the thing about it that people need to realize is it's really hard work. And I think the other thing too is that when you're 18, the military pays like you're 18.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think, and for me, especially like as a spouse, that's been like the hardest thing for me to see, like Ricky being in the type of role that he is as like a leadership, like him coming home and just like expressing his, I don't want to say concerns, but like his just like sadness almost over like some of these like trials and tribulations that these families are going through.
Yeah.
And you know, that's sad and that's disheartening to see. And it's also sad and disheartening to see that there is this like lack of community also too within, you know, like that these men and women are serving their country and that they're not better taken care of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really big misconception is that people think that, you know, like raising your right hand means that you're going to have all of this power and all of this money, and you do have all of this power, but you also too have to remember that like that comes with sacrifice, like we were just talking about, you know. So like I think there's a huge honor, but there's also a lot of sacrifice in that, and I think that's like one of the biggest things that I didn't really know before, and I think has really come to light over the last few years, especially just with what I've heard with Ricky and like what he's just experienced with like his own like team and, you know, everything like that.
Yeah.
Because that's, I definitely thought that when you join the military, it's like you get a check for every child you have, and it's like they support you and your wife and all this stuff, and you get housing and all this stuff. That's like my very, you know, broad overview on it. But
I mean, you definitely can make good money being in the military. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, you know, like you can make good money being in the military, but I think like you also have to be mindful that like if you're 18, you're going to make what an 18-year-old can make, you know.
And I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
you know?
like, you know, it's not, and it, like I said, it really is one of those things where it's sad to see like the struggles that some of these, you know, I don't want to say young people because I'm gonna sound like I'm like an old
but
fart,
I mean,
like
18
you know,
and 19, 20, like that's
it's,
still
it's sad. It's sad,
Yeah.
you know, and I think like I won't banter on about that, but that's just like, you know, that's just one of the things that I think is a really big misconception that a lot of people think, you know, oh, like the military is going to take care of you, and like they do, but only to a certain point, you know. So
that makes sense though, which is unfortunately it is disheartening when you have stories like that, or you see things. I feel like it's one of those things that you don't understand unless you're living it, and you get to like talk to somebody who's been through it as well. So but kind of leaning into a little bit more of a lighter note, what has been like kind of your proudest moment with Ricky, or just like even with yourself being in this role?
I definitely think one of like my proudest moments for him was when he got pinned as a captain. That was like, that was really cool.
I saw the photos.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I just think like his like journey like to get there was really cool. Like he just really had like a harder time like when he was like a lieutenant and everything. So I was just like really, really proud of him that like he persevered and he stuck with it. And I was really proud of him with that. So
What about you?
Yeah.
What kind of growth has this led for you?
I mean, I definitely think like I would not be like in the career that I'm in currently. So I work in insurance. I would have never like in a million years ever like thought like, oh, look, I'm going to work in insurance, but I actually really enjoy it. I like kind of like the hustle and bustle of it. Never also thought I would say that, but I really do enjoy it. And so, I just think that's like something that I'm really grateful that the military indirectly brought me to, you know what I mean? That like I kind of like fell into it because it's so transferable to say, you know, like I can do it wherever we go essentially, you know, because like,
so
everybody needs insurance.
Do you still work at the same team that you were in Colorado versus now in Ohio, or
no, I work for a new company.
Okay.
No, I
but if
don't
you
work
wanted to like, so the whole insurance aspect, because when you were when you were talking about it to me, I was like, oh, that's so interesting, like how it's kind of, you can do anywhere really, but you have to move firms kind of wherever you go. So I still like carry like my insurance license. I just don't, I used to work for State Farm. I work for a different like agency now. Got it.
So,
okay, cool. But still the same thing. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So before you said like insurance wasn't something you were thinking about. So before you even like became a military spouse and Ricky was doing all these things, what did you imagine your career to kind of look like?
I mean, I definitely thought like I was going to be like working in some sort of like fashion, like buying, merchandising type of thing by now. But honestly, like I'm so glad I didn't. Like I'm so glad I didn't, because now like looking at it, ew. Like literally like buying is literally all numbers. You get like 2 fun weeks out of the year.
So like, actually no clothes or anything, like
literally like ew. Like that actually sounds like the worst job of my entire life. Like I literally failed algebra 1. Like what? Like why did I think that was gonna be a fun job? Like, no. But so I actually no, ew. Like literally ew.
Hey, that's right.
But that's definitely what I thought I was going to be doing. It's just funny though, like how life works. Like like literally who would have thought? So
everything happens for a reason.
It really does.
But
it really
just
does.
kind of one more thing to kind of connect to that before we try and like shift topics a little bit. How do you guys balance your goals like with one another? I know the military is obviously something that takes a lot out of you for both people, and sometimes it does consist of you moving around a lot. I know maybe now you're in more of a stable place, hopefully.
Yeah.
But how did that work out? What conversations did you and Ricky need to have in order to make sure you both were feeling fulfilled during this whole process?
The honest answer to that is that the conversation was originally like when he joined that he was going to do 4 years and then get out. And then it turned into we loved living in Colorado, and he was like, I really want to pin as a captain, but if I pin as a captain, like then we're going to have to PCS. So we're going to have to do another 3 years. So we're going to have to take on another duty station. I was like, okay, like cool. So then you'll be at almost 8 years then. So then you might as well do 10. So then you should get your master's. So that's kind of like where we're at right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think like, I don't know. And that like sounds so bad.
No,
but
it's
like,
a real thing.
It
you know?
is. And like, and I think the other thing about it too is like we're in like such a weird situation where like we literally have no like friends, at least immediate friends who are like in the same situation as us with like being directly like active duty military. I mean, we have like, I guess like one like kind of like friend that we made like along the way. But I don't know, like it's just like it's hard to plan because it's just, I don't know, it's so hard. You know what I mean? Like it's so hard.
Gonna like
You have to
come
be
next.
flexible with that.
Yeah,
You know,
you
it's
really
kind
do.
of, if that works for you guys, that's good.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, in the way like I look at it is like I'm happy in my current job. Like I really like the flexibility that they give me. I really like the way that my company is structured. I really love like the leadership I'm currently under. He really likes the job that he currently has. Ricky's right now pursuing his master's at Ohio State. So like it's just like one of those things where it's like where we're at right now, like it just works for us.
right.
Yeah.
And like we're gonna be in Ohio for the next 3 years. So it's like, I don't know, we'll just take it from there. Like you know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of just like a
Yeah.
day-by-day situation.
Yeah.
But I am so happy to hear that like you both are like very content with where you are right now because, you know, her sister is like my best friend. So I've known Emma since I was a child.
Literally.
So it's just so nice because I do know like the struggles that you did go through, and you know it is obviously not an easy process, but just to see you like now you're like more close to home and stuff, and it's just nice that you're happy and you have like more stability where you are.
Yes, definitely.
So this is more so, I'm not sure if you're going to want to answer this question. This is more so kind of like we're shifting gears here. But whenever you think of like the military family, like they have kids at 21, 22, like that's what I think when I think military family. That's not you guys.
Yeah.
Can you kind of like, you guys aren't the traditional, I would say, military family. Like how did that come about?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's definitely something that we also get asked very often. Like, why don't you and Ricky have kids?
Yeah.
Like, because we don't want kids.
Yeah, like
question mark.
Yeah.
Because like I love to drink wine, and I also like love my sleep. And I love my freedom. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, but seriously, that's
but like
me with kids.
No, I think the biggest thing to that is that like that's just like so programmed in the military.
Yeah,
because
that's why,
a lot of military wives do not work. Their husbands are the breadwinner.
Got it.
Okay.
And like I mean, like Anne-Marie knows, and so do you, Julia. Like I grew up with parents who both worked.
Yep.
I saw my mom have and she still does, a full-on career. I saw my mom literally, she still does work. You know what I mean? And so does my dad. And so like I was never raised where it's like, okay, like I'm just going to depend on my husband. And it's like, just because Ricky's in the military doesn't mean I'm not going to have a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, come hell or high water, like, okay, if you want kids, and we've already talked about that, like when we start deciding to have kids, like I'm still gonna have a job, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's important to me, and I've also made it like very clear to him, like, you know, like I don't, for lack of a better words, hopefully I can swear on this podcast,
You can.
Yes, you can.
I don't give a fuck what other military spouses do. I mean, most kids, like most people our age have like 5 kids by now, as in far as like military terms.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, first of all, I don't want 5 kids.
Yeah,
That's 5 kids you have to send to college.
Yeah.
That's 5 kids you have to drive around and get a car for, maybe eventually, or a minivan. I don't even freaking know. Yeah. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think there's a real like stigma when it comes to that. And like, I don't know, like I don't know. Like the year's 2024, people.
Yeah.
Like wake up.
Yeah. And
like,
you have your pets, you know.
Yeah.
You have children.
Daisy.
What do you mean? She has 2 kids.
We should have started with that.
Actually, I do have children.
Actually, I was a single mom. I had Hamish.
Single mom who works
2 jobs, who loves her cat.
Literally, Emma.
Yeah, literally. I was a single mom before Ricky came along, so and I got along just fine. Yeah. Just fine.
Yeah,
but no, I like that about you guys. It's
I know.
Because like you have your own path, you do your own thing type of thing. And I'm always for the women. Yeah. I don't know. Women are amazing, and that's how I am. My mom's single mom. You better work.
Yeah.
You better work, bitch.
Yes. You can't depend on no man.
Yeah, literally. So, yeah.
I mean, and that's also too, like, no shade, no tea to Ricky. Like, I love that man till the day I die.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. But like, also like, I'm gonna have my own career.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'm gonna make my own money. Like, we're not gonna. And also too, like, I'm not a baby machine. You know.
Yes.
This is not like Breaking Mormon or whatever the show is, Breaking Amish.
Exactly.
Like, do you know what I'm saying? No,
Yes.
No, yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna fall into that stigma of like the military wife who has like 6 kids and is like,
right. No, that's literally what
that's
what I think. And I'm like, sometimes I forget that you are like a military couple because I'm like, you guys are just doing your own thing.
Yeah, we're just like, hashtag normal. Not really, but kind of.
But
As you should be. Like,
right.
And it just shows that everyone is different, and you don't, if you are in this lifestyle, you don't have to fall into a specific, like, I guess it'd be like a stereotype almost, or a stigma of the military, and you can just go at your own pace.
Exactly.
Do what you want.
Exactly.
Dylan's cousin, him and his wife are also in the military, and she's a nurse, and she is still working. She got a big belly. She's still doing her thing, and I'm like, there's very different, I guess, lifestyles, whatever you want to do. But,
So now, kind of shifting gears a little bit into the moving away from all of your family and friends, and kind of how you coped with that. How did moving in all of these different places affect your support system and your relationships that you had?
I really don't think it did, to be honest with you. I mean, like, my friends that I had like when I lived here, you know, like 6-7 years ago, I still have to this day. If anything, I think like it grew those relationships stronger, honestly. But yeah, like I really don't think it did, and honestly I'm thankful for that, because I know it could have totally gone like a different way. But yeah, I don't think it did at all.
Great. How did you manage to keep up such a strong relationship with them?
I just think because I'm kind of annoying and I'm a pest. Like when it comes to
why are you
but literally though, like no, but seriously though.
Yeah.
Like I'm like Natalie.
Yeah.
That bitch never answers my text. I'm like, I literally will text her at Natalie. Like, just like within a text between me and her. I'm like, are you alive?
Yeah.
Why aren't you texting me back? Like, you know, like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't do that to Taylor anymore because she has a baby now. So I don't want to be like that annoying.
Yeah.
But I am a pest. So like,
hey, that's
I will get a hold of you one way or the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, I'm a pest. That's how I kept up those relationships.
Yeah, I mean, it takes work.
The people I care about, like I will be a pest. So I guess that's also too, like, not to be like bitchy or mean, but like if I don't care about you, like I will not check up on you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that makes, that makes sense though.
That's also too, like, one, without like going off like the rails on what we're talking about, that's also too like what I've learned as I've gone through my 20s, like people who I value in friendships, I value in my life, like I will check up on you. If I don't care about you,
you're not going to hear from me.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Lose my number, bitch.
I mean, hey, you know, exactly. I
like
feel like everybody, no matter what position they're in, needs to like,
right. And especially with like your situation, you're far from home, like you don't want to waste your energy on people that aren't going to reciprocate, that aren't going to give you the time of day. And it's like, you want the people, you know, that will lift you up and make you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I like this question for the, it sounds like maybe this doesn't really apply to you, but when you moved away from everybody and all that stuff, were there any moments where you felt like lonely or loneliness and things like that? And how did you handle that? Like, would you reach out to your friends? Would you reach out to your mom, your sister, or did you kind of internalize it more so?
Oh yeah. I become Lonely Lucy sometimes.
She has a nickname for it.
I do.
Okay.
No, I mean, like, I think, like, the biggest thing for me is, like, especially, like, last summer when we moved from Colorado, it was, like, such a big, like shock more so because it was, like, we lived in Colorado for, I think, like, 3.5 years almost. So it's just, like, that was, like, it became, like, our home, quote unquote, you know?
Okay.
So we were living in South Carolina, and, like, that was so, like, quick because Ricky was just doing, like a school, they call it, like, schoolhouse there. So we were literally only there for, like, 8 months. So I knew that literally was just, like, a stopping point along the way more so. So I did kind of feel, like, very, like, isolated there. So I actually wasn't working there. So I was just kind of, like,
And this is in South Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just kind of basically,
Okay.
I was, like, at home every day, just kind of literally, like, oh my God, I'm just going to expose myself here. Like, building mini houses, LOL.
Wait, I love that.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, literally.
Like from Michael's or Hobby
Yes.
Lobby?
Yes.
I love that.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, that's cute. It's a hobby.
I know. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I literally called it my serial killer trait.
I can't.
Wait,
I
that
can't.
does give serial killer though.
I
You're
know.
like with your
Wait,
tweezers, like-
no, seriously though.
I love that.
I
That
had,
reminds me of your dad with his boat.
I know. When I get home to Ohio, I'll text you guys a picture of them. They're so cute. I did a coffee
gosh.
shop. I have a
Okay.
fairy
Oh,
house.
wait, that's
The
so
fairy
cute. I've
house.
seen them on
Wait,
TikTok.
I love
They
the
are
fairy
so
houses.
cute.
I have like 4.
Okay.
I had a lot of time on my
Like
hands.
I can give you one if you want.
I had some time on my hand, Lady Luz. So to answer your question, yes, I did feel a little lonely. Lonely Lucy came out. But with that, like, I just, like, reached out to my mom and, you know, like, Morgan and Taylor and, like, my friends and everything. And, yeah, but, like, I think it's okay to be, like, lonely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's, like, another thing, too. And, like, something that I've learned through, like, therapy over the years. Like, you're allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to feel your emotions. You're allowed to, like, also, like, too, like, I don't want to say, like grieve, but, like, I'm allowed to feel sad. Like, I literally just, like, left my, like, job, my life, my everything. Like,
Right.
I'm now living in, like, a house that's, like, not really gonna be my house, but, like, it's kind of my house.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And then I'm supposed to, like, move again and, like, live in Ohio for the next 3 years. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's just, like, it's weird. It's weird. It's freaking weird. And you know, and we're all human, and you're allowed to process that whatever way you want to. So,
And that includes building little houses.
Wait, that's
Correct.
so funny though. That just because I've been like off of work too, and like I live alone. You know, it gets lonely.
It does. It
I
really
like
does.
tried to take up candle making. I literally bought
Oh my
all of the
God.
shit for it: the wax, the containers, the wicks, the smells. I didn't make one damn candle. I was just looking at the
Literally,
stuff like,
a whole inventory of things.
and I'm like, ooh, I tried to sell it in the garage sale. Nobody wanted it.
Ain't nobody
I will
wants
say
it.
though,
just,
Emery,
like-
that's very you coded.
Right?
To go so far out and just like buy the
The
entire
whole
I bought
thing.
the whole set.
The whole
and
thing.
I just stared at it. I'm like, oh,
You're like,
okay. Like,
This is cool.
The only good thing I did was this with the mirror ball and thing. Like, this was,
that is really cool though.
and
I
it's
really
cool.
like that.
And that's it.
I really like
And then everything else, for the most part, I just like
Yeah.
rotted in bed. But you know, it's
But like, hey, like rotting in bed though, like I also did that a lot
Yeah.
in South Carolina because it was like 9 bajillion degrees with 1,000% humidity. So I
Yeah,
was like, I'm not going
jeez.
outside. I'm
no,
gonna melt.
thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
melt. Melt. But yeah, so
I don't know.
I mean, that
Yeah.
does make sense though. It was.
What's your favorite place? Oh wait, I think Colorado is your favorite place that you've been to.
yeah, I loved Colorado.
Yeah.
I told Ricky like if we could go back there tomorrow, I would. But the
Okay.
only thing is like I just like love Nicole and Dave and Haley and Coco.
Yes.
And I guess Migo.
Migo. That will fact.
So I would miss them.
Yeah.
I really do like being a lot closer. So like maybe if we could just like call like the U.S. government and move Colorado a couple states
Colorado,
closer.
please?
Can we get that on the ballot for this year, please?
I'm dead.
Oh my gosh! No,
what do you
that's
think,
so
Kamala?
true,
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Please. No, seriously though, because I loved visiting you in Colorado. I think I only
know.
did it like twice or 3
You were
times.
in
maybe.
the Springs area, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we were in the
It was so nice.
Yeah,
And
I've
I know
done
when
your
I
little
found
trips
out-
to like Breckenridge and all the
Yeah.
mountains and all that stuff.
It was
you
just a
guys did.
beautiful place. And Dutch Bros. I mean, come on.
Oh my God,
God,
R.I.P.
Dutch
Dutch.
I know.
I still have my Dutch Bros app. You know what it texted
No.
me? They literally texted me the other
Where
day.
have you been?
They say.
Literally. They're like, we miss you. I was like, I miss you.
Are you by Tim Hortons though? Do you not like them?
I am.
Do you-
They're not as good though.
I know, but it's.
Hortons.
But their
I love Tim
Timbits
Hortons.
slap.
I've never had their. Is that their food?
No, yeah, they're little like donut holes.
Yeah,
me and
never-
Morgan got them the one day they were so
Really? I've never had their food. like Justin
Tim
Bieber
Hortons, why
loves
have I
Tim
not
Hortons. He
heard
had like a
this? Is this like
drink
a-
there.
She knows it
East
because of
Coast?
Justin Bieber. They're
It's
like
like
a
an East Coast-
Canadian
When we went to
thing.
Canada, we went to Tim Hortons.
Did we really?
We did.
Canada, eh?
Yep.
I don't know.
That's like where I think it started, and then
Yeah.
it came out
Yeah.
into like some states, like in Michigan and in Ohio.
Clearly.
Yeah, obviously.
All
So I
right,
don't
well, I'll
know.
have to try some Tim Hortons one because Dutch Bros is not my thing, but that's
Yeah,
an
she doesn't
unpopular
like Dutch
opinion.
Bros.
Unpopular opinion.
Well, if you're looking for a new co-host for Suburban Happy Hour,
Here she is.
hi.
Okay,
guys,
let's get back on track.
Whatever. All right, Emma.
Okay. Nope. This one.
I like this one though.
Oh, okay.
Can you talk about the role of resilience in your life as a military spouse and how you've developed that strength over time? Because you're a resilient, girl. If you really think
You
about
are.
it, resilience is not everybody's fucking resilient.
And
all
not
right?
even due to this, like even for your whole life, you just
Yeah.
like been through so much, but you just like, I feel like hit it head on. And yes, sometimes you get sad about it, but you always come back like, wait, I'm a bad bitch,
right.
and
I'ma get
you
it
push
together.
through it.
Because I am. No, just
Yes,
kidding.
right.
You are.
I mean, I think like the biggest thing, and like not to like bring this all back to like, oh, like therapy, hee hee hee. But like I really do. Like I think like one of the biggest things that I've learned, because I've literally also been in therapy since I've been 14. LOL, first breakup in high school really
wow.
wrecks you. It really wrecks you, lady loose.
Hey,
Or at least it did for me.
a lot of us probably should have been.
Okay. Nicole, I guess, saw some signs. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, so I just think the biggest thing I've learned through therapy is that like you just gotta do it. You know what I mean? Like you gotta do it. And like the thing that I always try to like, I guess, be resilient with is like you just have to do it. Like you
Yeah.
gotta get through it. You know what I mean? And like I'm also too like a serial killer, like crier. Like I love to cry.
Yep.
I just love to cry.
Isn't that like a
Yes.
scientific thing where like crying like releases some shit and you like
Yeah.
just feel better?
I hope so, because
like I literally could cry at the drop of a hat. Like ask
Yeah.
like ask Ricky. Like sometimes I literally will just randomly start crying. He's like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"I just really don't know." Like
There
I
was that
seriously
one
don't
time
know.
on vacation when we just went to
Oh my God.
Carmel.
Yeah.
I was like literally sitting in front of the ocean. I looked at Julie. I was like, I think I'm gonna cry, and I just
Like,
The
Dude.
whole trip she had tears in her eyes. I'm like, what's
Like-
wrong with this bitch?
Like I'm just like I don't know. Like I'm just like such like a
Yeah.
I'm just a softie.
Yeah.
Like I'm a sensitive Sally. Like
Yeah.
I really am. Like I'm just like I'm sensitive, but like I also too like you got to get through it. You know?
Yeah.
And like you have to like, and I also feel like too like I'm very like I carry the team on my back, as in like I feel like even like with my own family, like with Nicole, Dave, and Haley, like
Yeah.
I'm it. I'm the leader.
Yeah.
Even though I know I'm not, but like I am. I'm the chosen one.
Yeah.
So like I got to get everyone through it. You
Yeah.
know?
yeah.
So I don't know. That's just kind of how I've always gotten it through it. And like love Ricky, but like he's kind of a dingledorf. So like if I don't do it, like who's gonna do
Yeah.
it? You know what I mean?
But
Daisy's not.
Daisy's definitely not.
Daisy's gonna be like, "Ruh, ruh, where do we go? You know?
But no, I love how you said that, because it is so true. You are like that person, and for multiple people, because I remember when I was going through some stuff in college, you were the one that, and I don't even know if you know this. I don't think I've ever even said this to you or Haley. She was the one that like pulled me out of it when I was going through what happened in college.
gosh,
She
really?
called me, and damn, I was like, all right, like straighten up, like let's go. And it really helped me get through the situation. So you really are that person for not only your family but your friends too. So you know, thank you. Gee, that's so sweet. Yeah. But then kind of moving back into you moving away from all of your family and friends, what kind of surprised you the most about being in these new places? What are things that maybe you didn't necessarily think were going to happen that did?
I don't know, honestly. I think like the biggest thing that surprised me is that just like without being like sappy, that like life still like goes on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think like the biggest thing for me, without getting like too like emotional about it, was just like the time like lost like with my family, you know? And, like especially too like with my grandma and like stuff like that. I was like, ugh, you know, like so that definitely sucked. But at the same time, like I was there, but I like wasn't there. guys.
Oh my God, guys, technical difficulties. Let's move things along.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay,
We got
Emma.
you. We got you.
So you've done a lot of moving, right? Right. So what are some of the biggest surprises you encountered when trying to build a new life in these communities? And how did you kind of build your own community in the new locations that you know you had to go to?
I think that was like hard at first because it's one of those things where I'm also kind of like, I don't know, like I'm shy, but I'm not shy. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
Right.
it's like I'm definitely not going to be the first person to be like, howdy, like I'm Emma, you know, like, cause that's just like awkward, you know? But I don't know. And like, also too, like within being a military wife, like the culture is very, bitchy, to put it nicely. So I feel like sometimes it's not as approachable, and also too a lot of just with like, I will say like the rank, quote unquote, that Ricky holds, a lot of the military wives are like 10 years older than me. So like they're, well, 10 years older than me, plus like they have like kids, and so like there's not a whole lot that maybe we related to, at least like on surface level, that I thought. So it was, I felt at first like harder to be like, hey, what are you doing this Friday night? Like watching Bluey?
Yeah.
Not me. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was hard to find that common ground at first. And we did, when we lived in Colorado, we lived on post. So it was like, I was surrounded by other military wives, but I did kind of find like a little, like our neighbor, she was really nice. We did live literally directly next to, like we had like a townhome. So like we had a shared wall, with the chaplain. They were really, really nice. So yeah, I mean, like we eventually kind of found a community, and then I found, I guess, like a friendship within like my actual like workplace too. So, you know, I mean, like you find it eventually, but it is hard to like build that up when you
especially
move.
having to start over every time too. That's kind of hard to do, but I'm glad that you found your ways to do it.
Yeah.
So again, with finding kind of community, you left your community here, and what has been like the hardest part about that, or like the realizations that you've had to come to moving away?
I think like the main thing is like, you know, as everyone says, like time marches on, you know, so like everyone is still here, like living their lives without me. And I think like the biggest thing for me was, you know, like my grandma, like she was sick for a really long time with Alzheimer's, and just kind of like seeing the progression of like when I would come home, like how she would unfortunately like progressively get worse. And you know, like that was hard, and not being able to see her like daily and weekly, like my mom and my sister would. So yeah, I just think that was really hard.
Yeah, and that's so true though, because I feel like that is what people don't realize when, you know, people move away from their friends and family, that they like miss out, like life still moves on, and you're missing out on all of these things that are happening back at home. Like I know our good friend Lauren like says it all the time. She's just like, well, for some things I wish I could just be there with you guys, and it's hard, but you know, we get that you're on, you know, a different schedule, you're doing your own thing, you have your own life there too, and it's just like, it's important to still like make those connections with those people that are far away. And I feel like you do a really good job of that, and like your family and friends still make sure to come out and see you all the time. So I bet that helps and feels good too.
Yeah, definitely.
And then how has this process of basically, guys, please bear with us here. How has the process of kind of starting over shaped the term home for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think like for me, at least like now, like home is like wherever like me, Ricky, Daisy, and Hamish are, you know, it's like wherever like we lay roots, you know, and like I think like me, like laying roots has definitely like become a more like lax term, for lack of a better word. Whereas like it doesn't matter like where we are, like as long as like we're there together, and as long as it feels comfortable, and it's where like basically the Army tells us to go, like that's our home, you know. So yeah.
No, that's awesome, because like in the books and the movies, you always like home isn't a place, it's a person.
It is.
So it's like your little
It really
tribe is your home,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
that's that you can attest to that. That's cool to see. Like it makes me feel like if I really had to like pick up and go, as long as I had like my loved ones there, it'd be okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I hate this. Again, if you can't see, we have to pass this mic back and forth. But anyways, how do you balance like the nostalgia of it all? Like of kind of, and I don't want to say like the life you used to live, because the life you've created now is amazing and you love it. But like, how do you kind of balance all of that? If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think like there's a lot of like nostalgia for like the life I used to live. Like I mean, like, and even me and Ricky talk about that sometimes, you know, like just I don't want to say like the normalcy, but like the way that it was just like very normal, I guess. I don't know. You know, like we literally met like working when we worked at Marichicosi together. Like it was just like very like normal, you know, like we literally had no responsibilities. Like it was just like, it was just a normal life, you know? And I think like now, like as like most people, like when you get older and you just like, I don't know, adult life, you know, you have more responsibilities. It just, I don't know, life changes. So I do think that there is like that nostalgia for wanting to like have the things that we once had, but it's also like that would be going backwards. So who wants to go backwards?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I feel that.
Yeah.
And then just kind of to wrap up this segment a little bit, how do you think you've evolved looking back from, you know, day one when you were 23, maybe freshly entering this lifestyle, and now you're going to be turning 29 in a few short days. How have you changed and evolved throughout this whole process?
I definitely think I have gained a lot more of like self-confidence within myself. I definitely think like me and Ricky's relationship and marriage has grown. I am really proud of like where we have come like as a couple and where we've come together. I'm really proud of myself. I really am just like so proud of like the person like I've become. Like if you would have told me, like I said, even like at the beginning of like when I first turned like even 21, like like in even like, you know, technically I guess not 10 years, but in 10 years, Emma, like you're gonna be like this like badass like military wife who's like moved probably at that point, like really when I'm 31 at that point, like probably like 5 or 6 times. Like I would have been like, yeah, right, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? But like I'm doing it and I know I'll be able to do it. And I think that's the biggest thing to me is that like I don't give myself enough credit when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I'm just really proud of myself, and I'm proud of my husband, and I'm proud of all of his accomplishments. But at the end of the day, like I'm proud of me, you know, because like although he's done a lot of hard stuff, like I've been there through every step of everything hard that he's done as well, you know, and he's done the hard, heavy lifting, as I like to call it. But like I've been the support, like I've carried like the weight emotionally of everything for him and for me, you know? So yeah.
She a badass bitch, ladies and gentlemen.
That's my answer to that.
No, but you really are. Because I just think, like, again, I've known you for so long, and just to see the growth and everything that you've really, the person you are now is incredible. And
Thanks.
not to say that you weren't incredible when we were younger.
No, yeah.
But you know, you really, there was a lot of growth there, and it's so nice to see.
And then to wrap it all up, Emma.
Okay.
Any advice? Doesn't have to be pertaining to this topic, but just in general, any advice for people in their 20s?
I would say like my biggest advice for somebody in their 20s is, I don't know, just be you. Like, I know that sounds so cliche, but like, just like be what's like true to your heart. And like, if something doesn't feel right, like it's not right. And like, if you have to mess up in order to like be better, and like, don't like apologize for doing something that felt right in the moment, and don't apologize for not maybe showing up as your best self, because like that's literally what being a human is. You know what I mean? And like, you know what I mean? Like it's okay to not show up as the best version of you. And like if anybody is going to belittle you because like you didn't show up as a good version of you that day or that week or that month or even that year, like literally tell them to fuck off.
Right.
Because like who are they? You know what I mean? Who are they? And like I think that is the biggest thing that I've learned throughout my 20s is like anybody who's going to bring you down because you're not showing up as like who you're supposed to be or who they see you as you're supposed to be, like they can literally kiss my ASS.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like people, I think that's the biggest advice I can give is like nobody can tell you who you're supposed to be.
Right.
Period. Mic
Period.
Drop
Mic
that
drop.
mic.
I will not, because we
already
lost one.
Issues.
But figuratively.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then boozy banter. I don't have anything for this segment, but do you ladies have anything you want to chat about?
I do have one thing.
Okay.
That was just like quite humbling, and you'll kind of see why. So me and a couple of the girls went out on Saturday night. We went to the town down whatever. And
down yonder.
Yeah, down yonder.
Down yonder to Brookfield.
And it was so funny. Like all of us girls that kind of went in the same car together, we are all single. So our motto was, we're finding our husbands tonight. Okay. So, you know, we all like looked cute, popped off, whatever. We get to this bar and we're just like looking, you know, scoping around. We see a lot of like good looking guys, but like, you know, none of those guys came up to us. We had men come up to us. Yeah. Strictly old men. Ew. That were drunk and at the bar by themselves.
Oh, no.
One guy came up to our table 3 times and tried to talk to 3 separate girls. Didn't know if he forgot he came up to the table or not.
He definitely forgot.
And
he forgot.
And
he forgot, unfortunately.
Whatever. And then the one man that, you know, talked to me when I was standing at the bar, you guys, I went back to the table and I almost started to cry. I said, is this the best I can do? Is this the most I can pull? And I was like, this is a mess. Literally that night, me and Cheyenne re-downloaded Hinge because we were like, this cannot be the best for us.
Yeah.
I'm just so confused. Like, and it was so funny. Our friend Taylor was like, these men really had the audacity to come up to you guys. And
like, what age were these men?
These men were probably 50 years old. And no offense.
50?
And not even like,
wait,
they
how
weren't
late
dilfs.
was it?
It was like 10:30. And they weren't even like hot 50-year-old men. They were like men that should not be talking to women like that at the bar because it just gives off a very scary vibe.
Like you're going to get stolen.
Literally.
Like stolen.
Literally. And the thing is, like, the guy that was talking to me, like, was like so close up to like my back at the bar. He was like trying to get me a drink. So he's like putting his hand up to the bartender. I was like, sir, you don't have to do that. Like, I'm cool with waiting. He's like, a woman like you shouldn't wait. I said, oh, no. Sir, you need to back the fuck up. Cheyenne came over and was like, what is going on? I was like, I don't know. Like, please help.
Amy said, I don't fucking drink either, sir. I don't need your assistance right now. Dude. That's so unfortunate. It's just... But you know what? You guys need to shoot your shot. Maybe that's what's wrong. Maybe if you guys would have approached one of those guy tables, you guys might have had a very different night. Who knows? But that's easier said than done.
Agreed.
It's real easy for you guys out here, 8-year relationship, married. I'm like, okay, you don't know the struggles. Well, you do. Everybody has their own struggles. You don't know the struggles of dating right now. But no, that's all I have to say because it was just a very humbling experience for all of us. And on the way home, we were just like, so we're re-downloading it.
It's like fucking silent in the car. It's like everybody's contemplating their fucking lives.
No, on the way there, we're like, ooh, we're going to find our husbands tonight. On the way home, it's fucking dead silent. I'm playing fucking sad songs of 2000. We're singing like Lips of an Angel and shit the whole way home.
She's playing Divorced Dad Spotify playlist.
Like, this is where we came to.
Lips of an Angel.
Literally, it was a quite humbling experience. Yeah. And
that sounds very...
So we probably won't be going back to that bar anytime soon.
I just wanted to say I'm sorry. That's really unfortunate, but
sounds it's a little sad, I won't lie.
It's
okay. It's okay. It happens. I won't say to the best of us, but it happens. It happens. Such is life.
Emma, thank you again for being here.
Of course.
Thank you for talking about this topic because I feel like a lot of us think we know, but we don't. Mm-hmm. So shedding some light on this, and I learned a lot from you.
Yes.
And and I also really appreciate your positive outlook on everything. You're always like, obviously, Anne-Marie said that she's known you for basically your whole life. Mm-hmm. I've known Haley for a long time, but not as close with you. But whenever I do have my conversation with you, you're always so like grounded. You always have such good advice, and you know.
Thank you.
I don't know. You're such a good big sis. You give big sis energy. You are a big sis. So
thank you. Thanks.
You right.
Mic drop.
No, but really quick, I think because you said grounded, I'll just never forget. We were like on her bachelorette trip.
Oh my God.
And we had a night, and then the next morning she literally like got up, and we were like, Emma, and she's like, I need like 30 minutes to go meditate. You do you. You do you. Self-care. She takes care of herself. That's why she can really help others.
I do. Meditation is also very important.
Yeah. Well, that's a good note to end on. So
It is.
we will see you next week. Thank you, Emma. Bye.